I think what we're witnessing with Wit Studios' new series, that you would swear looking at it at face value that Studio Ghibli was behind it, but no, Wit Studio, I think we might be witnessing a classic in the making. I've heard nothing but good things about this series, and that was even before we actually had teaser trailers, which this has been teased by Wit for quite some time. And walking into this packed anime season, Ranking of Kings was my most anticipated series. I assumed it might get wrote off because maybe people would think it looks too kiddie, but I'm believing anyway, and I'm putting my faith in the anime community that not only Wit Studios' name, but also the very Ghibli-like aesthetic will hook people in to try this first episode, and they're probably going to be blown away. It's clearly going to be something that's going to be an emotional journey, an adventure journey, but something that's going to have that kind of like adventure, childlike wonder before it crashes and burns. You follow a prince who is heir to the throne, and that throne is rather large in more than just, figurative sense. The king is a giant, and clearly this being their son and the heir to the throne, not only is that on a physical level something that the kingdom might laugh at, given that, the king is literally the reason they have peace because of his ginormous power. But the fact of the matter is, he's deaf and he can't speak. But there's something about this kid that he very much seems more than meets the eye. He gets bullied, he gets picked on, and no one seems to take him seriously. Yet the king refuses to abandon him. He just pushes him farther and farther, as we see in this episode. It's a matter of time until he dies based on the coughing of blood and things like that. But the idea that he very much seems to understand more than he lets on is something that has me intrigued, because there's multiple points throughout the episode where he's interacting, whether it's this shadow-like creature, Kage, who apparently comes from a family of assassins, and I mean, you can kind of understand that. The fact that he's pretty much the only prince's friend, Boji that is, and he just continues to give him his clothes off his back, will walk home butt-ass naked and continue to be mocked. But when the new queen is like talking shit about how her son will be the heir to the throne, and he gives that visible concern, but even she mentions like he can't understand us, right? I mean, he even has a sign language person there as well. So it feels to me, because this kid clearly knows more than he lets on, I feel like he's the type of person who, yes, he can't speak, and maybe even that will turn out to be false, but I like the idea that he probably can understand more than he lets on, meaning he knows how everyone treats him, but he doesn't let that get him down in public. We see him cry in his room as he's changing to go meet his father, but it seems like he's someone who understands he may not be physically the most fit fighter out there, but as we see with him when he battles his brother, he has speed, and even if he can't hit the hardest, it seems like no one can hit him. I love that flashback with the one guard who's saying, hey, who do you think's gonna win this fight? And everyone is like, well, who do you think's gonna win? This dude literally made our captain quit. He beat our captain. Do you really think this crybaby wannabe prince is gonna win? No. But there was a moment where he battled snakes, and his speed let him win. It's gonna be interesting because he very well could be deaf as well as can't talk, but maybe he can perfectly read lips. Maybe he perfectly just can understand things more than he lets on because he understands that he is at a disadvantage. So don't give your enemies and the people who mock you more fuel to bring you down even more. And it'll be interesting because on a physical level, he may not be as strong as his father, but speed is some of the best, I think, attributes you can have. There's so many times when I play RPGs where I put things into speed, agility, things like that, because even if you don't have a very high attack or defense, you can make up with that because of your speed. You can get multiple strikes in before they can even hit you, and if he can increase his strength, even if he is a wimp on a defense level, if he can dodge all those attacks and get one good hit in, I mean, if had that been a real sword, he would have had a slash. Even if it wasn't life-threatening, he might have lost his eyesight. So that's what has me excited, is that there's this very fantasy-like charm about the show. Very much feels like something you would put on that came from the 80s, a classic anime you heard nothing but good things about. You watch it, it has its starting point here, and then quickly things start happening and then you get to the grand ending. But because this is, I believe, a two-core production from Wit Studio, very much in that Ghibli-like fashion, the fact that we get to take our time with this exploration and the character arcs and building and see all the pain, all the laughters, and all the just adventure has me so excited. And I'm sure there's going to be some people who will get annoyed that I'm even claiming that this could be a classic, but I mean, this first episode alone, I think, is a classic first episode. It's not only something that aesthetically is incredible, it's so different narratively than anything TV anime has done this year, and that's not an exaggeration. This is the type of stuff that you at best will see in a movie because most production committees won't fund this. And if you've been paying attention, Wit Studio hasn't been doing that well financially after, moving on and doing other things. But they are still a studio taking risks, and while they're not going to make the biggest of bank from the show, even if it blows up because there's multiple people on the production committee, and they're pretty low on the production committee themselves in terms of what they'll reap from benefits here. But it is something to really continue putting that name out there, that Wit Studio not only is taking their time producing anime these days, they're producing things that are different, original, or usually wouldn't see the light of day in terms of an adaptation, and if so, it would not even be 10% the quality that this first episode was. I love the backgrounds in this show, I have to say. I mean, they feel hand-painted. I would be shocked if they're not hand-painted, given what I'm seeing here. And it's been some time since I've seen something like that, since I honestly think the last time I've seen that was Somali and the Forest Spirit, which was incredible. The bouncy animation, the expressive everything. This feels like a classic. And I know I'm beating a dead horse with that, but like, seriously, I am blown away that this came out in 2021. Because it looks like it was from the 1980s. Not because it looks bad, but that's the type of style that you don't see anymore. And if you do, it's in an 1.5 to 2 hour film, not a 20 to 24 episode TV anime coming out in the world of Magical Girl Twisted series and isekai galore. But we got Ranking of Kings from a studio that knows what quality is. This is the type of stuff that continues to make me love anime and say, even if there's genres and even if there's styles that continue to get made season by season, there's always wonders you don't see coming. And I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people who may have not even heard of this show until this video came out, or have been keeping an eye on it, saying they're going to check it out. And then there's people like me who've been keeping an eye on it for, it seems like, over a year. No matter what, this will be a surprise for everyone, and I am very, very impressed, and I really recommend everyone, please check this out. Please share it around. Even if it's not necessarily for you, you can tell this is a quality anime that deserves to be seen by those who would get a kick out of it. Please promote this one. Please get this one seen. This show deserves all of the buzz and hype, and maybe I'm the odd one out. Maybe I'll be covering this show every week, getting 200 views. Do not care. This show is too good to not cover, and I am excited for more. Thoughts and feelings on this incredible first episode. What do you think of it? Excited for episode 2 next week? Leave a like if you enjoy and subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.